Hey guys, this is AJ and welcome to my channel An Outsider's Review. Yes, I call my channel by this name because currently I look at myself as an outsider on this platform who will try his best to give an unbiased movie review, represent our YouTube community in good faith and be true to the art form. If you like my review and its analysis in the video, please do like, share and subscribe to my channel for more upcoming content. Now before I start my movie review, there is something you need to know about me, especially before the movie I'm about to review. There are two great sayings by prolific figures that sums up my ideology of filmmaking. The first one is by an American director Stanley Kubrick, where he says a filmmaker has almost the same freedom as a novelist has when he buys himself some papers. And the second one is by an American journalist Mary Schmitz, where she says you can map your life through your favorite movies and no two people's maps will be the same. These statements clearly say that one can be critical of a movie but that they should not take away the freedom of a filmmaker and should burden them with one's morality. What I wanted to show and say here is that I'm a cinephile who has watched movies from all around the globe of different regions, languages and cultures, and let me tell you, it ranges from heartwarming to disturbing and extreme. It can be from a romantic comedy like Groundhog Day to a horror romance like Amis. It can be from a black comedy like Birdman, transitioning to something like very light Hera Fairy. And then the disturbing series can go from Saw to Midsommar to Eraserhead and even Salo. I'm of the opinion that a filmmaker has the freedom to make a film and show it to the audience and let them decide whether to watch it or not. One can give constructive criticism and not make a mockery of the art form and the efforts that go behind making it. And that's why this is what my channel will focus on and give my viewers a straightforward and an unbiased review of every film. And to show how it's done, there was no better film than, yes, Animal. Yes, I know I'm very late in giving a review of this film, but given the time available, I was able to watch this movie multiple times, look at a lot of interviews given by the director and its cast to have a better understanding about the thought process and the perspective that went into making this film. So more than a review, this video will be an exploration of the movie as a whole and a discussion on the commentary and polarizing views and reviews received by the film, making you now aware it's going to be a very long video. Also, the video will be a spoiler review, but I feel that's okay by now because as the majority of you must have already watched the movie. So what the hell. The film stars Ranbirkapoor, AnilKapoor and Rashmika Mandanna in lead roles, followed by BobbyDeol, Shakti Kapoor, Suresh Oberoi, Saurabh Sachdeva, Siddhant Karnik, Bablu Prithviraj and Tripti Dimri in supporting roles. What is the movie about? Well, the film tries to explore the dynamics and take an unconventional approach on the father-son relationship shared between Ranvijay Singh, played by Ranbir Kapoor, and Balbir Singh, played by Anil Kapoor. Keeping the rough upbringing as a backdrop, things take a dark turn when there is an assassination attempt on Balbir Singh, resulting in the son taking matters into his own hands to seek vengeance at any cost. How Ranvijay deals with his relationships around him while going no holds barred to take revenge and seek validation from a father he loves the most in the world is the basic storyline of Animal. Now, how will I review the movie on my channel? Well, I will divide the movie into two sections. The merits and the demerits. Merits talking about all the goods and the demerits talking about all the bad stuff. But specifically for Animal, I'm going to be a little subjective here. So I'm going to give a subjective opinion on a few topics that have been highlighted by the audience and critics alike on various platforms. So yeah, that's about it. So shall we start? The demerits. Revelation too convenient. I don't think that the Tripti Dimri character was completely irrelevant, to be very honest. From her falsely portraying the wife of a deceased whose heart has been used for transplant, to her keeping Ranvijay busy with her love and charm while his body double will create havoc against his family, all of this seems a good idea on paper. However, its treatment is what turned out to be naive and absurd. The way Zoya enters in Ranvijay's life, the way he accepts her in a few minutes, how they get into action in the next few scenes, and when she finally confesses that she is among the baddies, Ranvijay says that he already knew all of this from the moment he saw her. It was all too a little convenient. If they had incorporated scenes which showcased the Tubber finding out something fishy about Zoya and her background, and that it was conveyed later to Ranvijay as a flashback while the confessions were happening between Ranvijay and Zoya, I think this segment would have felt much more believable. Rashmika Mandana's dialogue delivery. Rashmika Mandana's performance was commendable, which I will talk about later, but my man, was it really frustrating. I mean, the dialogue delivery throughout the movie. Barring a few scenes, it sounded muffled. The scene for which she got trolled heavily on social media was actually one of the highlights of the movie, but keeping that apart, it miserably failed. Like the scene where Ranvijay asks her about her plans and the reason behind her marriage when he meets her during her engagement. You really have to concentrate to understand what Gitanjali is saying, and it's the same in the other scenes too. I am not too sure if this was done on purpose, but if it was a really bad call. Few problematic and unnecessary dialogues. The movie is sprinkled with multiple problematic and unnecessary dialogues which could have been avoided. After a certain point, you seem to feel that these lines were forced to extract a certain kind of reaction from the audience and give shock value, but not the underwear scene. That had importance. We'll talk about that later. For example, the pelvis statement in the beginning minutes of the movie comes out of nowhere and sounds cringe. Even when you see it multiple times, you do feel odd and it does not contribute anything to the scene. To add a few, there are scenes like where Ranvijay talks about slapping Gitanjali as it will be a first slap and she says that she'll slap back, then to randomly give her AirPods which plays them moaning while having sex that was recorded on their first night on the plane, a BDSM tinge to a scene as well where Ranvijay playfully tortures her in a certain way, but then in the next scene you see Gitanjali praising that in her school days she was thrilled to know when Ranvijay carried a gun in the school to protect his sister, only to imagine what will he do if someone does anything like that to Gitanjali. It's weird from both sides. The scene where Ranvijay confesses to Gitanjali about him cheating on her with Zoya, it's a very emotional moment beautifully performed by Rashmika Mandana, only for Ranvijay to say that he has committed so many murders and she can't even forgive him once for sleeping. Facepalm is all I could think of. So if you see and understand, it's a toxic relationship from both sides, but yes, mostly from Ranvijay's side. Given the complexity of the relationship, it may not sit well with a certain section of the society, and that can already be seen. Should this not be shown in movies? Well, I'm a critic and not a judge. The merits. Animal is definitely not an action movie and more of an epic drama, but I must say that it does full justice to the source material whenever you see action on the screen. The 3-level action set piece in the interval block is amazing. The Tabbar singing Arjun Valley while Ranvijay mercilessly butchers the ops is something that you see in Hindi film very rarely. The jump cuts in between the sequences were a bit irritating, but overall it nailed it. The hand-to-hand combat sequences towards the end were also done in a good way, so definitely a thumbs up to the action choreography. Music and the background score. I'm really inspired by how SandeepReddyVanga takes his music so seriously. When I watched his interviews, he said that he makes or collects the beat with the producer first, which then sets a tone for the scenes to come and then directs them, and you can actually see that. In fact, there is a video of SRV on YouTube where he lends the whistle to the Pajero chase sequence multiple times just to get it right. That's some dedication. One of the best qualities of SRV films, whether it be Arjun Reddy, Kabir Singh, and now Animal, is that the music is never treated as a break for the movie characters or the audiences. It plays a vital role in contributing to the ongoing scene and the progression of its storyline. The songs have turned out to be chartbusters made by multiple music directors, from Arjun Valley to Hua Main to Papa Meri Jaan, etc. It has really captured the essence of the film and its heart. But the soul really lies in the background score given by Harshvardhan Rameshwar, who is the same person who gave the score for Arjun Reddy and Kabir Singh. Whether it is Ranvijay's entry on the A.R. Rahman song, or the whistle blowing to create the tension, the Tabbar entrance song, or the entrance with his cousin in the Range Rover following the Jija killing scene to Jamal Kudu, I can go on and on and on. Kudos to him for bringing such an exhilarating score for the movie. Screenplay and editing. Let's be honest, the story of Animal is simple, but it's the treatment and its execution that keeps the audience hooked. The way the source material unfolds in a non-linear fashion and the way the movie has been edited, it's a very unconventional type of filmmaking, as if we are seeing something that has been never shown before, which shows how SRV has played the cards right, and that nails it. The performances. The entire cast of Animal has done a terrific job. Anil Kapoor shines in the moments of relief or anxiety, and happiness or rage. His eyes do the talking and he doesn't miss a beat. Rashmika Mandanna does a decent job. I've already spoken about her, but I must say that the 11-12 minute scene that she shares with Ranbir after knowing about his infidelity is top tier class acting. I loved BobbyDeol's character. Although he has limited screen time, he nails it to the core with what was given to him. The barbaric nature that he possesses, only to show that there is always an animal more cynical than the previous. It was a delight to see Shakti Kapoor and Suresh Oberoi in their given roles. The double choice of men has been brilliant, as if you feel that they were meant for this role and they just fit right. The rest of the supporting cast have also done a decent job, but it's Ranbirkapoor who steals the show. This is a Ranbirkapoor film. I think he literally has surrendered himself to Vanga's vision, and it's evident when you see him act. He takes the script and the character and eats it up. From a good-looking father-loving boy to a deranged animal, his presence is captivating in every single scene. I have watched RK's several movies in the past. Whether he has put in more effort in this movie than he has before, or if his acting skills are aging like fine wine, whatever may be the reason, but he is the reason for the movie to be on top, the superstar. Well, that was my review on the movie Animal, and honestly guys, it was more of a mixed bag for me. So now moving on to the segment which is the real deal. So I will highlight a few pointers that people have been talking about on various platforms and whether I agree with them on these pointers or not. My views again are subjective and they can definitely differ from yours, so do let me know what do you think in the comment section below. Presence of police. People complain that there was so much action and chaos, and how come there wasn't one single police officer in the entire movie? And yes, I definitely agree with that. Now, there was a section of people who argued that it's a world building concept and you can't end up finding logic in everything. Again, I don't agree to it and I have the best of example to give. Now let's take John Wick as an example. When the Russian sends a bunch of assassins to John Wick's house in the first installment, he kills them all, but then a police comes over to check on the situation since a neighbor complained. But surprise, he knows John Wick very well, and when he just tilts to look once inside, he sees bodies in a pool of blood and just simply asks John Wick if he's been working, clearly establishing here that the police knows who John Wick really is and that they should not mess with the high table. Plus, there is also a group of men who are shown cleaning the entire mess and helping these men of order to dispose of the bodies. So the director had set a precedent already, hence nobody questioned the logic behind it in the future entries. The audience knew exactly how it worked. However, during the invasion of an event attended by Ranvijay's Jija or at the interval block, only if there was a scene of a police calling and informing Shakti Kapoor characters or somebody else's character, only for him to say that we will handle it or the people of Swastik will handle it, it would have simply made the audience understand that the police cannot interfere only because of the connection Balbir Singh has. That's all they had to do, but they really did not think of it. BobbyDeol's screen time. Many have debated that BobbyDeol has limited screen time and that he was wasted. Well, I beg to differ. What I can agree to is that to show a backstory on how he exactly went mute or his relationship with his grandfather, rather than passing that incident in just a 5-minute narration. But even that would have been played by a younger version of BobbyDeol's character and not himself, since it seems that this happened when Ranvijay and Abrar were kids. So to say that all of these factors would have added on more screen time for Bobby wouldn't have anyways. Plus, though it is limited, it is definitely effective. I think the actor understood the assignment and agreed with the concept of less is more. Hence, every time he comes on screen, it's pure madness. Real life solutions. A certain set of audiences kept on saying in reviews and comments that only if the father would have taken the son to a psychiatrist, then this wouldn't have happened. Only if the Dadaji had the simple conversation with Ranvijay, then there would have been no bloodshed. In an amusing way, it's like saying if Tabu's character in Heather would have been honest and more caring towards Shahid's character, he wouldn't have chosen the extremist route. This could have been easily solved, right? So what's the point of creating a fictional story? Nobody is stopping one to share their opinion, but to say that this can be avoided if this was done, or if the character would have chosen this path, then this outcome would have been better. Don't we think that the creators knew about this? Of course they do. But that's the beauty of storytelling, wherein they are presenting the film in a certain way and showing it to the masses. But to say कि ये भी हो सकता था, वो भी हो सकता था, that is just unnecessary debate. The dialogues. The movie has problematic dialogues and I totally agree with it, and I have already highlighted it earlier, but to say that it had no relation to the character or the script all in all is just plain ignorance. For example, the most talked about scene is the underwear scene. Let's talk about it. In the scene where the title comes up, Ranvijay starts complaining about a rash in his underwear with the rest of the people, which they laughingly dismiss. Few scenes later, he mentions he has rashes because of the water and the detergent change, which is normal in real life too, and he agrees not to wear them till he gets his new ones, only to reveal that this would turn out to be important while fighting with guns and that it ends up into a comical scene where he has to borrow someone else's underwear for support. How is this not relevant to the screenplay? During the engagement in the start of the movie, he talks about how females used to choose their male partners based on their capabilities, and that's how Ranvijay looks at himself. An alpha. That's how his mind is wired to the concept. So how is this not relevant? Like I said earlier, yes, there are problematic dialogues, but I'm not joining the other band, debunking everything just for namesake. The impact of the movie. I do agree that movies in general do leave an impact on you, as it triggers all sets of emotions within you, but to say that today's generation will start acting exactly the way it's shown in the movie and be demeaning towards women and other family members and friends is too far-fetched. We live in 2024. We live in a world where men are more educated now about how to treat women. There are discussions and actions taken for equality. There is awareness raised every other day on social media about something or the other important to the world. Not saying that our country is very safe as per the World Index, but if I have to compare our country to what it was 20 years ago or even 10 years ago, it has improved. In short, men and women both are literate in 2024 and know what is right and what is wrong. But what is frustrating is that it is the media, news channels and a handful of critics who always complain that these kind of films will put a bad light on the youth and they will act in the same way. See, it is okay that you say you did not like a movie, but these critics go way beyond and start questioning your moral grounds as to how can you promote such a film? How can this movie be celebrated? And to such an extent that you are also asked how can you even like this film? That is like questioning your character, which is not fair. You can say the movie is bad, but by saying that the audience will start acting like the movie characters is when you start insulting the intelligence of the audience. Moreover, there are a set of critics who have made a checklist of morality pointers, especially the point on how a woman is portrayed, what kind of image does the woman showcase, how much of a role a woman has in the movie, irrespective whether the script demands it or not, etc. And only if you clear this checklist is when the rest of the movie will be rated on for the rest of the things. Don't get me wrong, but I've always loved women in this industry time and again, who have proven their haters wrong by their contribution to Indian cinema, such as Shabana Azmi, Tabu, Nargis, etc., to name a few. But to make this a center point of discussion and debunk the rest of the film is something I will never agree to. Also to highlight is when the makers heavily promote a film which is based on social, religious or political messaging, it is their duty to be accurate in their storytelling because that is how they have marketed the film. Good examples can be Oh My God and Airlift, and the bad one goes to none other than Adipurush, and we all know how this turned out to be. But when a movie like Animal comes out, where the makers have agreed to an A certification and have mentioned multiple times in their promotion that it's not for the faint-hearted, it's not for the people who get triggered easily, they should stay away from this movie, these are exact lines and words used by them. Plus this movie does not even preach, it's fictional. Then why do we have a certain section of people or group moral policing the audience? Well, in the end, I guess as the time passes by, this section of media and critics hopefully someday would understand that as adults, we are intelligent enough to know and understand through movies what is right and what is wrong and the difference between real and real life. Well, that was my video, guys. I hope you liked it. I have tried to be as neutral as I can with the review, so do let me know about your thoughts and views in the comment section. Once again, if you have liked my review, please do like, share and subscribe to my channel for more upcoming content. Thank you for watching. See you again.